Welcome back to the Challenger Podcast. I'm Dave Glaser. If you've listened to the last few episodes, we've discussed the best workouts for your Enneagram type, the best nutrition approach to reach your goals, the limiting beliefs holding you back, and the habits that actually stick so you can progress towards those goals. But today we're talking about the thing that's underneath it all. Because here's the truth. You don't fail at weight loss because you don't know what to do. You fail because you don't understand why you don't do what you know. That's a self-awareness problem. And self-awareness is the difference between repeating past cycles and breaking them. Let's talk about why it matters and what each Enneagram type can learn about themselves to finally make the progress they desire. Here's why self-awareness changes everything. And it did so for me too. Weight loss is not a food problem. It's not a workout problem. It's not a motivation problem. It's a pattern recognition problem. And patterns live in your stress response, your emotional triggers, your identity, your core fears. And self-awareness lets you catch the pattern before it hijacks your behavior. Without self-awareness, you blame yourself, you blame the plan, you start over again. With self-awareness, you adjust instead of quit. You respond instead of react. You grow instead of spiral. Now let's dig into the specifics and what each Enneagram type can learn about themselves through self-awareness and how it applies to fitness, nutrition, and weight loss. Let's talk about type 1, the reformer. What they think is the problem is they just need to be more disciplined. What self-awareness through the Enneagram reveals is your rigidity is sabotaging you. Type 1s need to notice and name how quickly they move to self-criticism, how one mistake turns into I blew it, and how their inner critic drains energy. The growth insight here is progress doesn't require punishment, and acknowledging that progress can be slow at times is the self-awareness pattern break. When ones become aware of their perfectionism in real time, they can choose flexibility, and flexibility sustains weight loss. Type 2, the helper. What they think their problem is, I just don't have enough time. And what's underlying that is they give all of their time to other people. What self-awareness reveals is 2s abandon themselves to feel needed, wanted, and loved. 2s need to notice and name when they say yes, but end up resenting it, when they eat to soothe emotional exhaustion, and when their needs disappear from the room, not putting themselves first. Here's the opportunity for growing some insight here. Neglecting yourself as a type 2 isn't generosity, it's avoidance. When 2s protect their own energy, their health and well-being stabilizes. Let's talk about the achiever, type 3. What they think their problem is that they need a better plan to get faster results. What self-awareness reveals is you attach your worth to outcomes. Type 3s need to notice and name when progress stalls and their identity feels threatened, when they push through exhaustion, and when rest feels unsafe. An opportunity for growth and insight is to label, you are not your results. When type 3s detach identity from the scale, they create sustainable systems instead of burnout cycles. Does that resonate? Let's talk about type 4, the individualist. What they think is their problem is, I just need to feel more motivated. Emphasis on the word feel there. What self-awareness reveals is you act based on emotional weather, like weather in Colorado. If you don't like it, just wait 10 minutes, it's going to change. Type 4s need to notice and name when mood dictates meals, when they romanticize struggle, when inconsistency becomes part of your identity. And an opportunity for growth and insight is consistency doesn't erase depth, it builds strength. And self-awareness helps 4s separate emotion from action. Sounds more difficult than it actually is, but I promise you'll get to your results when you take a look what's underneath. Type 5, the investigator, what they envision their problem is they just need more information. What self-awareness reveals is you use preparation to avoid vulnerability. 5s need to notice and name when they research instead of act, when they withdraw from accountability, when energy conservation becomes isolation. And an opportunity for growth and insight and introspection for the type 5 is action builds confidence, not more knowledge. Self-awareness helps 5s step into participation instead of observation. Type 6, the loyalist. What they think their problem is I'm just not sure this will work. What self-awareness reveals for them, doubt is your default defense mechanism. 6s need to notice and name when anxiety triggers plan switching, when worst case thinking derails progress, when reassurance replaces action. Growth and insight opportunities for the type 6 are, you don't need certainty to move forward. Self-awareness allows 6s to act in spite of fear. Type 7, the enthusiast, one of my favorite types on the Enneagram. What they think their problem is, I just get bored with the same routine. What self-awareness reveals for them is you avoid discomfort by chasing novelty, even in your nutrition and fitness school programs. Type 7s need to notice and name when structure feels suffocating, when indulgence becomes escape, when quitting early protects them from hard emotions. What hard emotion are you avoiding right now that's holding you back from getting to your weight loss, nutrition, and fitness performance goals? An opportunity for growth and insight for the type 7 is freedom comes from discipline, not escape. And self-awareness helps 7s stay long enough to see results. It's the stick and stay principle. Type 8, the challenger, like myself, what we think is the problem is I just need to push harder. What self-awareness reveals is you override your own limits. It's need to notice and name, maybe I can learn something here, is when they ignore pain, when they resist help, and when vulnerability feels threatening. Growth and insight opportunities show up for the type 8 in this scenario. And understanding that control isn't strength, self-regulation is. Self-awareness helps us 8s train intelligently, not aggressively. And I can definitely share a personal experience here that when I injured my knee in October and eventually had surgery in December, I couldn't exercise at the level of intensity that I wanted to for quite a while. And I ended up putting on quite a bit of weight, 15, 20 pounds of unwanted body fat. And I knew that continuing to strength train in my upper body while I was rehabilitating my knee was going to be very good for me. So I reset my weight training program to include the PT exercises I was given for my knee, but also dumbbell exercises for the upper body. And I knew that that was going to help me at least maintain some muscle mass while I was recovering from surgery. But it was the vulnerability of saying, hey, I've let my weight training program fall off because I was relying so much on jujitsu and the high intensity interval training that that sport provided me. It fulfills every requirement for me. It helps me burn calories. It helps me get stress out on the mat. It helps me feel like I'm part of a community. And it helps me maintain my cardiovascular health without running, without long endurance cycling, which is not intense enough for me. But I really just had to set aside jujitsu for a little while as the crutch and as the place that I would escape to avoid that vulnerability of like, I need to continue to weight train as I'm in my mid 40s and it's harder to build lean muscle mass as you age. And jujitsu on its own was not going to help me reach my weight loss goals. Since returning to jujitsu and implementing that weight training and a better nutritional approach with whole foods, lean proteins, and home cooked meals, I've dropped about 10 of that unwanted 20 pounds. I'll share a before and after video on TikTok. If you don't follow me there, please do so at Dave Glaser. And pretty soon I'll be sharing that before and after transformation video. And let's close it out with the type 9, the peacemaker. What they think their problem is in holding them back from getting to their weight loss and fitness goals is I just need to get started. What self-awareness for the 9 reveals is you minimize your own importance, and 9s need to notice and name when you procrastinate, when you let comfort win, and when you tell yourself your effort doesn't matter. And the growth and opportunity for insight here is your actions carry weight, literally and figuratively. Self-awareness helps 9s move from passive to proactive. And let's close it out with a big honest truth. Self-awareness doesn't automatically create change, but it creates choice. And choice is power. When you can say, oh, that's my perfectionism, or that's my avoidance, or that's my fear, or that's my need for approval, you interrupt the loop. Weight loss stops being a war against your body and becomes a practice of understanding your patterns. If you want to make progress this year, don't start with a new diet. Start with awareness. Notice and name when you react, when you rationalize, when you avoid, when you overdo it, your personality isn't your limitation, it's your roadmap. And once you can see the map clearly, you can finally navigate differently. As always, challenge yourself, understand yourself, and stop restarting the same cycle. This is Dave Glaser in Fort Collins, Colorado, wishing you health and happiness wherever you're at in the world. I'll see you next week.